So for year 8 specifically, I'm showing you how to make the Giant Beef Empanada to go with our Mexican cooking theme. Not beef and bananas, like loads of you seem to think I'm saying, beef empanada. It's our version, the take on the classic. So I have got a bell pepper, I've got beef mince, I have got garlic salt, I've got tomato puree, and I have got lime, and I also have some other spices, ground cumin, paprika, and ground coriander, which I'll show you as we go through. Right, so the first thing I need to do is take these off here. I'm going to show you how to prepare the filling first. So I need the bell pepper. I'm only showing you the amounts for one person. I've already cut part of this. The amount you need for one is literally a sliver like this. That's it. Now I always find it easier to cut the pepper from the inside out, not from this skin out, because this can get really slippery. So turn it that way. And then thinking back to when you were in year 7 and you were taught how to use the bridge and claw method. So I've got claw at the moment, and I'm doing thin strips. As I get closer to my fingers, you'll notice I was moving them back. If you're getting really close, then you swap to the bridge and just go in between. So there we go. So we've got thin strips. Don't leave them like this, it's far too chunky for the filling. So I gather them together, turn them round, and I'm going to dice them just roughly to make them smaller. So, okay, so that is our pepper. I'm just going to chop that one. That I'm now going to put into my mixing bowl. Right, so before I touch the meat, I'm going to make sure I've chopped and used the board for everything that is vegetable or fruit based. So we're going to our lime. Now, if this was whole, a top tip would be to roll it before you cut it on the chopping board for about 10 to 15 seconds. And that breaks up some of the segments inside so you get more juice out of the lime. So I only want a quarter of this for the one person. So remember, like you were taught in year 7, flat side down on the board, swap to bridge and chop it so you've got 2 quarters. Then take the bowl back and I'm just going to squeeze it. If you've got the cut, it's going to sting, but it's not going to kill you, don't worry. There we go, there's our lime. Okay, so now, I don't need the knife, so I'm going to get rid of that. I don't need to chop it out. Now I'm going to put in the spices. So I have got, first of all, garlic salt. I'll just show you, came from this. I only need a quarter of a teaspoon. Wash first. So I have got at home a measuring spoon like this. This is slightly different to the ones we have at school, where it's a set of different size spoons all clicked together. As you can see, I've got all the different sizes all in one piece of equipment. So I only want a quarter teaspoon, which is this small one here. If you don't have a quarter teaspoon one at home, don't worry, swap to the half and just half fill that. So only a quarter teaspoon. There we go, I'll do it. It's in there. I'm just going to give my spoon a quick rinse so that I don't contaminate my spices. Next one is ground cumin. This gives a really nice, warm, earthy sort of taste to the dish. It's such a lovely spice, we love it here. I need a little more. This is a half teaspoon. Please make sure it is a level one, not a heaped one, like so. That's it. There we go. I'm just going to give my spoon a quick rinse. Okay, paprika. This is one of the key spices used in Spanish cooking, and as we've talked about, Spanish and Spain have had a huge influence upon Mexico and their flavours they use in their cooking. So we need a half teaspoon of this. Level again, please, not heat. Straight in the bowl. And same thing as before, quick rinse. I don't want to be mixing the spices in my packets. The last spice I'm putting in is ground coriander. This adds a slightly zingy, fresher sort of taste. Oops, I'm using the wrong size spoon. I need a quarter teaspoon this time. Don't need quite as much. That goes in. Right, so next thing is tomato puree. For that, I need 1 teaspoon. So here's a tomato puree. Now I've seen quite a few of you struggling when we've been cooking at school when you get one of these that's brand new with how to actually use it because it's sealed inside here. This one I've used before, but I'll show you how to unseal it just in case. So you take the cap off, and normally, if this hasn't been used before, there should be like a metal seal over here. What you do is, if I turn the cap over, there's a little spike inside there. You put that inside, it pierces that, and then you can use it. Right, so 1 teaspoon, pour it straight onto my measuring spoon and drop it in. Right, now is the point where some of you might be starting to get a little bit squeamish, but you really don't need to be. So this is our minced beef. I'm using 50 grams. If you are vegetarian, defrosted minced corn would work absolutely fine, or you could get a can of probably kidney beans would be the best, or even chickpeas, drain them and use about 1/4 of the can in this in the place of the meat. So I need to mix that in with the spices and with the pepper. I'm going to use my hands, but if you really can't bring yourself to use your hands, use a spoon, but just make sure you give it a really good mix. So to do it, hand straight in, and I'm literally squishing. You'll notice I'm only using one hand to make sure that the other stays clean, so that I can use it to touch other bits and pieces if I need to, so that I don't move any potential food poisoning bacteria around the kitchen. So I'm literally, I've got that, squishing it together. It will almost turn into a paste. It probably doesn't sound that nice, a bit squishy. Keep going until you're absolutely happy that all of the mixture has mixed into the beef. That should just about do it. Let's lift it up to show you. There you go. Right, so I'm going to get my pastry out of the fridge now, and I'll be back in a moment. Right, okay, so I've got my pastry. So mine was frozen straight after I made it. Remember, I have got the video on the channel which shows you how to make shortcrust pastry. Then I defrosted it overnight in the fridge, so it's nice and cold. If you have made it on the same day, please remember to leave it to rest in the fridge for at least 30 minutes so that all that butter re-solidifies and you don't end up with a horrible mess when you're trying to roll it out. I have also put my oven on to preheat. It's on at 200 degrees Celsius. And I have got ready a baking tray. I have got a silicone sheet on here. If you don't have something like this, it just makes it easier to clean if it does leak. If you haven't got one of these, then put a little bit of baking parchment on there or greaseproof paper. I have also got my equipment ready. I've got my rolling pin, I've got some flour, I've got a fork, I've got a pastry brush and an egg, and I have also got a small plate. I've got one of these plastic ones that I'm going to use to cut around. So remember, this is for one person and it is 1 giant beef empanada. First thing I'm doing is dusting the worktop and a little bit on top. I say this, don't put too much on. Please remember that we're after like a light frosty day. We are not after a 10-foot snowfall. Okay, so I'm just going to roll this out until it's about the thickness of a pound coin. When you're rolling, do not squash all your weight down on the rolling pin, just very lightly. And the way you're supposed to do it is start in the middle and push up, start back in the middle and push down, to the middle and up, to the middle and down. Do that a couple of times, then turn it round, and that helps you to roll it more evenly. Though I am terrible at rolling things that are circular. So to the middle and up, to the middle and down, a couple of times, and turn it back round. If it's starting to stick, move the flour back underneath it, to the middle, and so on. Keep turning it, and I want to get it, like I said, the thickness of a pound coin, but also big enough so that my plate will sit over the top. So we're not quite there, very nearly there. Okay, so I'm going to check, that it does actually fit, and it does. But before I cut, I'm just going to lift it to make sure it's not stuck underneath before I start cutting. So turn the plate over, clean knife, and go around. Then that remaining pastry, I'm going to put to one side because I'm going to make some more later because we're having this for our lunch again today. Okay, so there is my nice circular disc of pastry, just move this so you can see it. Right, what I want to do now is I want to think about dividing it in half, roughly. So I'm just going to do a little line like that. You don't need to do that yourselves, just think about where the half is. You'll see why I've done that in a moment. Before I carry on, I'm going to get my egg ready. Let me just move this over so you can see. So I want the whole egg, crack it into a little bowl, and then I'm going to put this into the bin. Rinse my hand because I've just got raw egg on my fingers. Then I'm going to get a fork and I'm going to mix this together, which is called beating. There we go. Just long enough just to literally mix the yolk in with the whites. Move that to the side, bring this back so you can see it. Okay, so first I want my mixture. There we go. And I'm carefully going to place that into the middle. I'm going to flatten it down a little. Can you see why I put the line in there so I can see where the middle is now? Because I've looked at the line and I've gone slightly across from it. Do not put the meat mixture right over the edge. If I just show you like this, because then your pasty, your empanada, is going to burst open and you're going to end up with the meat mixture all over the tray. And then you'll be scrubbing for ages. Make it slightly fatter there. That should do it. Okay, rinse my fingers so I've been touching the raw meat. Right, now, egg. Little bit of it with my pastry brush, and I'm going to go around the edge like this. That is going to help my empanada to seal at the edges. The egg is going to act like an edible glue. So then I pull this top over, like so, so you can see. Right, so I don't know if you can see this, I'll try and pick it up and not drop it. That is not sealed. If I put that in the oven, it'll probably cook fine, it'll probably taste fine, but it's not going to look attractive because all that filling is going to burst out. So first thing I'm going to do is work out where my filling is. I'm just going to turn it around. And I'm just putting my hands around where that filling is, like so. Then I'm going to do the cheats way of just making the edges that little bit nicer. I'm going to get a fork. I'm just going to go around and press in. You could use the edge of a knife to do this. I'll just show you really quickly. Get the edge of the knife and just press it like that, and it makes like a nice little shape. But I'm just doing this way because remember we only have 1 hour, don't we, when we're cooking at school, so we show you the cheats quick ways. Right, fork. Just stab there. That allows any steam that could get trapped inside there to escape. If we don't allow it to escape, you could end up bursting the empanada open. Pick it up, then place it on the tray. It is important to place it on the tray before you do this next step, which is called an egg wash. Egg wash will make the pastry go a really nice golden colour, and it will be slightly shiny as well. If you egg wash the empanada while it's on your kitchen worktop, not on the tray, it's going to be a slippery mess when you try to pick it up. So try and remember to pick it up and put it on your baking tray first. So that is the empanada ready to be cooked. That is going to go into the oven for 20 to 25 minutes. So I'll see you then. Bye. Okay, so it's been just over 20 minutes. I've got my oven gloves ready, I've got a cooling rack ready. I'm going to get them out of the oven now. I have made some extra because, as I said earlier, these are going to be our lunch, so it would have been a little unfair to be fighting over one. Here we go. So you can see they have gone a much more golden colour from the egg wash. There's been a little bit of leakage out of them, which we can see here, but they're not too bad at all. I'm happy with those. So I'm going to cut one in half so you can see them. So this is a fish slice type of spatula. I'm going to get the pasty. There we go. So let's chop this in half so we can see it. So there we go. That is the beef mixture inside. It's got a nicely cooked through bottom there as well. Okay, so I'm going to now put this on a plate so you can see it all finished and done. One half like that. One half like that. There we go. And just a little bit of fresh coriander on the top for colour and extra flavour. And there we go. There is our giant beef empanada. There we go. Thanks.